The Morgan Report is sponsored by El Tigre Silver Corp, trading on the TSX Venture Exchange under the symbol ELS.V. El Tigre Silver Corp is a new startup silver company located in the prolific northeastern Sonora state of Mexico. We're joined now by the silver guru, David Morgan of The Morgan Report. His website is silver-investor.com. Mr. Morgan is one of the most preeminent world experts, not just in silver, gold, and precious metals, but related issues in the mining sector. David, welcome back to the Opportunity Show.
Great to be with you, Ellis.
We're both attending the Vancouver World Resource Investment Conference, and you're speaking there. What are you telling your audience?
This year, I am on a quest to talk about silver over the next decade. When I started analyzing silver so many years ago, and it looked so bullish, and of course it has been from the bottom in 2003. Of course, we got whacked pretty hard during the financial crisis of 2008. Gold did as well. Silver fell off much more percentage-wise, which is typical of silver. But the point is that I really want to know where we're going to go the next 10 years, so I asked that question. And what I found was very intriguing, that really I believe that silver is probably better over the next 10 years than it was in the previous 10 years. So from the 2000 bottom, really 2003 bottom, till the end of 2009, beginning of 2010, we had a very good, strong increase in the price of silver, even in real terms. But I believe going forward we're going to see even more. And the reason I say that is that both sides of the silver equation are extremely bullish, the industrial side and the investment side. So looking at those, and lastly looking at the other two parts of the puzzle, which are how much increased mining activity can we expect over the next 10 years, and also how much more recycling can we expect over the next 10 years. You've pretty much blanketed the entire silver industry from top to bottom, and that's what I attempted to do and did to the best of my ability in the March issue of the Morgan Report. And I've taken the essence of that in the presentations that I've been giving those last few months, and will probably continue to do for the remainder of this year.
Over the last year, silver has risen by about 14%. Do you have any idea where it might land in 2011?
I'll start with 2010, even though you didn't ask me. I do believe that by the end of this year we'll be in a new nominal high, and the nominal high for silver is 21 and change. And gold, as we all know, is about 1240, which is very recent. Silver has not confirmed gold's move. Not that it absolutely has to, but I believe in the precious metals like the Dow theory. In other words, you want confirmation from all the metals kind of confirming each other. So when gold makes a new high and silver isn't making a new high or closely thereafter or just before, it does cause me to pause a bit. Going on, I think you'll see silver over the $21 level by the end of the year. I don't think you're going to see it this summer, but anything can happen. It's very hard to call these markets anytime, and especially now when you have basically something that I've predicted along with many of my colleagues, and that is a currency crisis. We're basically having a currency crisis in Greece right now with the euro, and how that really manifests is going to determine the short-term price for the precious metals markets. I believe, as bad as it is, it will be papered over, and the governments will be able to get things under control for a while longer. But I don't believe they can keep it under control for a very long time, meaning 10 years from now, I don't think the euro will exist. There'll probably be some other currency. We don't know yet, so we really should just stay in the here and now and look at what we can actually see and maintain, and that is that the precious metals are volatile, the currencies are volatile, the stock markets are volatile. So you have to really stop and think of what asset classes are going to do the best during this time of uncertainty.
If silver is more of an industrial precious metal, shouldn't it stand on its own and not shadow gold?
Well, there's an 85% correlation between the two, so pretty much they track each other. I think the inflation-deflation debate, as I've said before, I mean, I'm a little bit past that. Not that it's not a very important debate, but I'm looking more at a meltdown in the currency structure, basically a situation where there's a very big loss of confidence in the whole financial system, and that will not be something that the mainstream press or the average citizen is really going to be aware of. What's going to happen, I believe, is that the governments will continue to print money so that they're not defaulting. But in essence, that's a default. When you're given $1 today that's only worth 10 cents 10 years from now, really you've defaulted, or at least defaulted by 90%. I look at it as if these metals pretty much mirror each other in the longer term, and they do well both in inflation, deflation, or currency crisis times. I think they're a crisis hedge more than a inflation hedge or a deflation hedge at this point. So I'm looking at it as people go to the confidence trade. So if they have lack of confidence in their currency, lack of confidence in their stock market, lack of confidence in their economy, they go to something they have confidence in. Well, the confidence that they have in silver and gold is the same. It's an asset that stood the test of time for basically all of recorded history, and there's no trust issues. There's no confidence issues. Once you own it, you have full confidence that it's worth something. The paper price may fluctuate, but you have a great deal more confidence in that than you have probably in any other asset class you can name.
Is the gold and dollar decoupling complete? Can we, in fact, continue to see a stronger dollar for a while?
You can on a very, very short-term basis. I think the dollar may be heading down slightly, but certainly you can. Most people need to go to liquidity, and liquidity means that whatever asset you have, you need to sell to get back to a currency. And that's what the dollar represents globally. It's the reserve currency. So if you have stock you don't like, or bond you don't like, or some asset that you need to sell, you're going to sell it and move that into the dollar or the strongest currency you can get. Currently, that's the U.S. dollar. Most people don't think gold. The strongest currency of all are the precious metals, gold and silver, but very few people are aware of that fact. And even when this market peaks, whenever that happens, even these people that are somewhat savvy will probably never be in the precious metals market. So they go to the biggest, quote, unquote, safest market that they can, and that would be currently the U.S. dollar. So I think the dollar probably has the ability to rise along with gold. It's not just an inverse relationship to the dollar. It's an inverse relationship to the uncertainty. You're more certain about a dollar than you are about a certain stock that you have, or you're more certain about a dollar than you are in a corporate bond that you're afraid is going to go bankrupt, or a municipal bond you think that the city isn't going to be able to pay you back. So there's more confidence in holding cash than there is in holding some of these other assets. And for most people, that's as far as they think. But for some of us, we think beyond that because we know that the dollar's lost maybe 95% of its value since it was initiated under the Federal Reserve System in 1913. And if their whole mandate was to have a stable monetary system, they failed miserably. So what class of asset does better than the dollar, and we all know what that is? The largest group on the planet is always going to go to what they think is the safest thing, which is some government-mandated piece of paper backed by nothing other than politicians' hot air. And then on the other side of the fence, you've got something that's stood the test of time for thousands of years.
Tell us about your blog and your website, silver-investor.com.
What I really like about it is I'm able to use Twitter now to get all the information out to everybody that I want for free. And it's a good idea just to check in on that every couple days or so. I usually handpick the articles that I want you to read. You can pick and choose. You can look at the titles and, skim it pretty quick. It's very efficient for me to do it that way. I can do it on the road much easier than I could with the old website. As far as the blog is concerned, it's kind of a one-stop shop, if you will, to look at things related to the economy and the precious metals. Because we look at the economy as well as the metals. And even though I'm a silver expert and, noted for that, and that's truly, a fact, I'm broader than that as well. I mean, we do look at the rare earth elements in the report probably every 3 months or so. And I look at the resource sector generally. I mean, we're not just focused on silver. We focus on things that make sense from a resource perspective. So we've had companies that are well away from the silver market that we've recommended in the past that did quite well. So I look kind of as a value investor. One thing I don't really do, so no one misinterprets what I'm saying, is energy. I think energy is extremely important. I just don't have the time or the expertise to go into the energy market and make any suitable recommendations there. Although we have done some research in uranium, it was more about the whole sector, and we did a special piece on that. Basically told people, please, please, please bail out at the top. This is a bubble. This is not going to end well. Get out. And I actually had the privilege of doing a major radio show in Canada, basically pleading with people to read the special report on uranium. And I probably got 6 people that bought the report, but those 6 people, if they took the advice that we gave, are probably extremely happy because most people didn't see the uranium bubble that we saw clearly. It's Not that we get it right all the time, Ellis, as you know we don't, but if you follow what we do, if you speculate and you put equal amounts of money into 10 speculations, pretty good chance that you're not going to lose money. If you find one of those 10 and you fall in love with that story or that stock or that company, and you decide to put too much money into that one issue, you're probably going to pick a loser, because we don't have nothing but winners. We do have losers from time to time.
The website is silver-investor.com. David, thanks again for joining us today on The Opportunity Show.
Ellis, my pleasure.
The Morgan Report has been sponsored by El Tigre Silver Corps, trading on the TSX Venture Exchange under the symbol ELS.V. El Tigre Silver Corps is a new startup silver company located in the prolific northeastern Sonora state of Mexico.